the outcome that you're trying to create is not guaranteed. It's not easy. It's not, rub free. It's not pain free. Like, it's going to be hard, and you're going to have to go all in because you're competing against other people who are going all in. So if you think you could compete against other people who are going all in and not having their life with you giving 3 days and them giving 7, your ego's out of control, bro. That's an arrogant thought. Yeah. Like, how you think you're that good? You think you could beat someone like me, but you could work for 4 days a week and I'm working 7 days with no alcohol and none of that in my life? Bro, those people are going to kill you. You have no shot. What is up, guys? It's Andy Frisella, and this is the show for the realists. Say goodbye to the lies, the fakeness, and delusions of modern society, and welcome to reality. Guys, today, as always, on Mondays, we have Q and AF. That's where you submit the questions and we give you the answers. Now, you can submit your questions a few different ways. The first way is,
guys, you can email these questions into askandy@andyfrisella.com.
Or you can go on YouTube in the comments section on the Q and AF episodes and drop your question in the comments. We'll pick some from there as well. Through the week, we're going to have shows within the show. We're going to have CTI tomorrow. That stands for Cruise the Internet. That's where we put topics on the screen, what's going on in the world. We speculate on what's true and what's not true. And then we talk about how we, the people, have to solve these problems going on in the world. Other times, we're going to have Real Talk. Real Talk's just 5 to 20 minutes of me giving you some real talk, just some things I think you need to hear. And then we have 75 Hard Verses. That's where someone who comes on the show, they talk about what their life was before 75 Hard, and how it is now, how they use the Live Hard and 75 Hard program to realign their lives. If you're unfamiliar with 75 Hard and Live Hard, you can get the entire program for free at episode 208. It is the world's most popular mental toughness program that has ever been created. Again, you can get that for free on the audio feed only at episode 208. There is a book for sale called The Book on Mental Toughness. You can get it at andyfrisella.com. It covers the entire Live Hard program. If you're the kind of person who wants to know all the details, I highly recommend the book. But again, it's unnecessary. You can get the program for free at episode 208. Let's see. We have a fee for the show. The fee is tell someone, all right? If the show makes you think, if it makes you laugh, it gives you good value, if you learn something, if it teaches you a skill, please share the show, all right? We don't run ads on the show. You'll notice that. That's a big difference. And I don't think there's another show of this size in the world that doesn't run ads. And the reason I do that is because I don't want to be told what I can and can't say. So I rely on you guys to help us get the show out. We talk about all these things going on in the world that we're not necessarily supposed to talk about it. So we need you to share the show. So don't be a hoe.
Share the show.
All right. What's up, dude?
What's up, man?
Not much.
Yeah.
What's going on?
I'm all right. Over here looking a little snazzy.
Yeah. You dressed up for the show today.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That's nice.
Thought we'd bring the culture. You know what I'm saying? Like, we talk about getting better here.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Trying to up your game.
Yep. I'm strapped to the clap.
I got you. You got the clap? Bro, you got to take some antibiotics for that, bro.
Oh, man. All right. Yep.
Yeah.
You good, man?
I'm good.
You all right? Looking good? Got a good weekend ahead of us?
Yeah.
Not behind us?
You tried. Yeah, man. It's all good. I'm ready to answer some stuff. What's going on with you?
Yeah, no, everything's good, man. So typically, guys, how the show works. I give Andy three questions that are submitted from you guys. So I want to read this email for you. So he says a little bit about me. I'm a 30-year master plumber and a 20-year welding inspector. He owns 2 businesses, including a whiskey distillery. So he's been around the block a few times when it comes to business. He says, I'm not submitting a question here, but more of a point of observation. One of my pet peeves is walking onto a job and seeing trade personnel dressed like homeless hobos. Maybe I'm getting old, but if there hasn't been a time like right now to represent the professionalism of being a tradesperson, I don't know when. Can you please just cover the importance of dressing the part? Keep your work attire clean. If it's torn or has holes in it, replace it. Boots have heels falling off. Maybe time to get some new boots. Ass is hanging out of your pants. Buy a belt. Keep your tools clean and good working condition. Show some pride in your country and the work that you do for a living. I personally sew the American flag on all of my arm sleeves. It's part of my everyday work attire. Be a patriot. Perform well. Dress like you mean it. Your first impression is the most important when you represent yourself in your business. Now, translating this just overall success, how you carry yourself. What are your thoughts on this, man?
I think it's a huge deal. You know, Jerry Rice used to have a saying about his foot. Like, Jerry Rice was known for always being dressed to the nines on game day. All his accessories were perfect. Everything was perfect. He looked the best on the field. And people used to tease him about it. And they'd be like, Jerry, why do you care about all this stuff? And he used to always say, look good, feel good, play good. And I think there's a lot to that. I think it equates to your overall happiness and the self-image that you have of yourself, which then relates to your confidence, your ability to feel fulfilled, your ability to feel good about what you do every single day. I think it's a huge deal that is often overlooked, especially in the trades like he's talking about. But anything that you do, I think it's important for you to dress as well as you can afford to dress, to look as good as you can make yourself look, and go through life that way, because you're going to have a much better life experience. I think a lot of people, you know, they say, well, what does it matter? What does it matter if my, you know, uniform is untucked or my ass is hanging out of my pants? I'm doing construction work. This is hard stuff. Yeah. Well, there's a lot of reasons why it matters, okay? The aforementioned reasons, but also, how does it present itself as a business? How do the customers feel when they come by their job site and they've got a bunch of fat, disgusting dudes with their ass cracks hanging out?
Plumber's crack.
Right? They're sure as fuck not telling anybody to use the business, and they're embarrassed to even be around there. It makes them uncomfortable. So I think both from a personal level, it's very important, but also from a representing the company aspect, it's super important. And like our man said in the email, representing a citizen of this country and taking pride in how you do things, how you appear, what example you're setting for other people. And that's what's missing in culture. Yeah. You know, when we talk about personal excellence being the ultimate rebellion, that's not bullshit. That's real stuff, okay? Like, how you represent yourself matters. What you are your product, man. Like, you are your product. If your product isn't good, nobody's buying it. All right. And this goes for being an entrepreneur, being a dad, being a friend, being a member of the community. It doesn't matter. There's no off switch where you get to turn it off and say, oh, you know, this doesn't matter right now. You know, it matters at home. Like, what's your spouse think of the way you look? You know what I'm saying? Here, let me tell you something you can do to make all the things look good on you. Get your ass in shape. Okay, because when you're in shape, you can kind of wear whatever you want, and people are like, damn, that looks good. Right. All right, so maybe you're not a fashion icon, and maybe you don't wear the best clothes, or maybe you can't afford to get the heel on your boot replaced. But I bet you could if you weren't drinking a 12-pack of beer every day. I bet you could if you weren't ordering pizza every day. I bet you could if you weren't 400 pounds, you had to feed your fat ass every day. Okay, let's be real. It's about aligning priorities. So I think it's a huge deal. I think it's often overlooked. I think people have to think about themselves as a product. And if your product's no good, nobody's buying it, which means you're not going to make money. You're not going to progress in a company. You're not going to get a raise. People aren't going to buy your product if you own the company. And that's just reality, man. So I think it's more important than ever. And honestly, there's a huge opportunity in this because so many people just brush it off. Like, look at pictures of society from 80 years ago versus now, all right? If you're the type of person that can present a professional image or even a good brand, a good personal brand, I don't mean on social media, I mean in person, okay? No one else is even trying. Look around, dude. How many of these dudes out here that you're competing with are actually fit? How many of them drive a nice vehicle? How many of them speak well? How many of them look the part? How many of them are anything but just a fat little plebe getting a paycheck? All right, you have the opportunity to compete against that by just being well-groomed and being in shape and looking nice. And, you know, like, dude, I'm going to tell you right now, if I was a construction worker, I'd show up every day looking the best out of all the dudes. That's a fact, bro. And I think that relates to everything in our life. You know, we hear that saying, how you do one thing is how you do everything. And I think that's a fundamental reality for everything. I think it lends itself to making more money, being more satisfied, being more fulfilled, being proud of what you do. And I think that's a lot of what we're missing in the country.
Yeah, for sure. I think that's one of the biggest misconceptions is people don't really put a lot of care into the understanding that, like, no, people absolutely judge you.
Yeah.
Right, like, well, don't judge a book by its cover. Well, that's what the cover's for. Is like to tell me what this book's going to be about.
Listen, man, that's the biggest lie. And and look, dude, men really struggle with this. And men really struggle with this. Women are more accustomed to being judged by their appearance quickly.
Yeah,
it's just reality. All right,
it's the way it is. Yeah,
I'm just speaking reality. This is called real AF. Men are usually told by their moms who are in an unsatisfied marriage or an unsatisfied relationship or who have been shit on by men for 20 years, are not happy with whatever's going on with men. They tell their sons this shit. They say, it doesn't matter what your outside looks like. All that matters is on the inside. And they bring up their little boys telling them this, and then their little boys go out in the world and get fucking stomped on and become these supplicating little pussies who do every single thing that a woman asks of them and then just gets run over by them. Okay, so we're teaching men the opposite of what actually attracts a quality partner, which is having your shit together, being in good physical shape, making a good living, taking care of the things that need to be taken care of as a man. These things fucking matter. And if you don't live that, you have to understand that what you're going to get in return is far less than what you would actually be able to get if you were holding that high standard. And usually that comes from moms communicating to their sons what they wish they had now, right? They wish they had a nice man. They wish they had a man that opened the car door for them. They wish they had. But it totally throws out the window the dynamic that is nature. You can't argue with it. Yeah. That women have the choice of a million sexual partners from the time they start to hit puberty until the time at the end of time. Okay, and what happens here is that men start to beg for this, and women are only attracted to the ones that they have to chase. Okay. And you know what makes women want to chase you? Having your fucking shit together, because it's so rare. Yeah. So there's all these lies told, especially to men, around how you look and your appearance. And the only thing that matters is what's in your heart. And bro, the reality is it's just not true. Does that matter the most? Absolutely. But there's a whole lot of other things that matter a lot too. And if you don't have them, you're going to be very disappointed in your life.
Yeah. I love it, man. I love it. Well, let's get into these questions, man. I got 3 good ones for you.
Cool.
Guys, Andy, question number 1. Andy, I own a service-based company, detailing company, in a very saturated market. I've grinded, sweated, and bled for this business for the last 3 years. Sacrifices, missed family shit, trying to do all the right things by my business. So one of my competitors has started to see the results of his poorly managed company, and that I have stolen his clients. It's his words, not mine. So he has maliciously put 1-star reviews on Google and has spread shit online about my business, which none of it is accurate or true. Now, my question is for you, how do I respond? Do I continue handling business as normal, or just say fuck the guy? Do I beat his ass? Do I retaliate in a more subtle way? Has anyone ever tried slurring your business and or your personal name? How did you handle it? And what did you learn from these experiences?
Yeah, it happens all the time. But here's the reality. As long as you keep doing what you're supposed to do and you live in the integrity that you are, the eventual truth comes out. And, you know, when people talk shit on your business, they're actually advertising for your business. And what ends up happening is eventually enough people have patronized your business to where that person that was talk shit about or talk shit to ends up dealing with someone who had a good experience, and they talk, and then that person likely comes and has an experience and they have a great experience. And what ends up happening is the people who were talking shit end up looking like they're what they are, which is bad people. So in time, this always straightens itself out as long as you're holding yourself to a high standard and doing the right thing. So that's typically what corrects it. I'll give you a couple tips to expedite this. One thing is this: don't get caught talking shit about them back. All right. a lot of times business owners like to get in these verbal warfares, especially on Instagram and the internet. It makes you both look ridiculous, and it makes people not want to do business with you at all because they don't want to deal with someone that's that petty or ridiculous. It's unprofessional. It makes you look stupid, and you shouldn't do it. Secondly, why you shouldn't do it is because these people are actively talking shit about you. So let's say you as a customer, let's just say you're a customer, you went to an auto detailing business, and while this guy's cleaning your car, he's like, don't use Steve's auto dealing. This guy's a dickhead. He does this, he does that, he does this, treats his customers wrong, blah, 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 right? And he's talking all this shit. And then that customer ends up having a falling out with that company, because usually these companies that talk shit don't do a good job at running their business, which is why he said you stole his customers. No shit. That's the point of business. I'm going to take your fucking customers by being better. That's what this is about. That lends itself to the point of what I talk about all the time, where people shouldn't even be entrepreneurs. Like, if you're not comfortable to compete over that customer's business, you're not cut out to be an entrepreneur. If I don't do a good job, I deserve to lose customers. You should understand that, okay? We're in a competition. Nobody steals anybody's customers. Those customers aren't anybody's. They're just out there, and your job is to try and get them to be yours, but they're only yours for as long as you earn them, and you have to continue to earn them. It's a lot like a relationship. It's a lot like a friendship. If you don't pour into it and you don't make it good, they're not yours.
They'll leave your ass.
Yeah. So these people are not high-level effective operators in general that do this. And so what ends up happening is those customers end up having a bad experience with this guy, and then they start looking at alternatives. And then they have an experience with you where you're doing a great job and you're kicking ass and you're treating them perfect. And then all of a sudden it clicks like a light bulb in their head. Holy shit, this guy over here this guy's a piece of shit. Right. He's a liar.
He was doing.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
And so, like, dude, my policy is always that, like, when someone comes to me and they're like, oh, your competition's talking shit, I'm just like, oh, well, I've heard nothing but good shit about those guys. That's weird. I thought we were cool, and you just say something like that and blow it off. And the customer, that sends the signal to the customer, like, wait a minute, why is this guy saying this and this guy saying that? And it makes them curious. You dig yourself in a hole by getting into that back and forth. So there's that. I wouldn't talk shit on your competition, even when they're talking shit to you. Thirdly, I would just be so much better than them that they can't compete. That's the bottom line. Like, when people can't compete, that's when they get pissed off. So I would focus on you just being the best that you can. And then, if it becomes too big of a problem, there's always ways to, make people's lives difficult and legally. And, that's why you shouldn't fuck with people that have more resources than you. You shouldn't start things with people who have more resources, more relationships, and more money, because those people can do things legally that can really just make your life fucking ridiculous. And I'm not above doing that. Like, if people fuck with me and they step on my toes, I'll step on their throat. And that's what business is about. Like, if we're out there in the wild and some bully's about to fucking get at my shit, I'm going to kill him.
Right.
Okay. And that's the law of nature. And it applies to that in business as well. Try to have civil, try to handle things well, but I don't do this publicly. I don't go out and talk a bunch of shit. I just handle it.
Yeah, that person may not even ever know.
Ever. Yeah. Bro, listen, man.
That's how it is, man.
Yeah, it is what it is. Like, dude, it's very easy for someone with unlimited resources, when you have limited resources, to basically spend unlimited resources online or in advertising or targeting your customers or opening up a fucking store right next to yours and giving all the shit away for free, whatever the fuck they got to do. Like, I had a competitor no, for real.
That's some crazy shit, man.
You do what you got to do. Bro, I had a competitor one time who was trying to undercut me.
Yeah.
And I opened up a fucking store a block away and sold everything like $5 cheaper at a loss until he went away. Yeah. So, like, dude, it didn't cost me shit.
Yeah.
So, like, dude, this is what you do. Like, when people don't go away and they continue to poke and poke and poke and poke, and you're the guy with resources, they're stupid, because people don't think about that.
Yeah.
Like, I had a guy who has a fucking gym running his mouth. I called him up on the phone and I'm like, hey, you realize I can open a gym right next to you and give memberships away for free, right? And when I said that, his tone totally changed because he hadn't thought about that. But that's what I will do.
Right.
Like, I will bury you, bro. And if you want to me after we've had civil discourse and I've said, hey, don't do this, I won't do this, and you still decide to do it, I will open a gym right next to you and I will make it free until you go away. But listen, they don't think like that. No. People don't think like that. And it's very easy for someone that is in a power position to do those things. Yeah. So you should never, ever, ever fuck with someone who's got more money than you. Yeah. Ever.
That's the ignorance. It's almost like, this ladder analogy that we talk about here, right? You got people above you on the ladder. This is the ignorance of those people trying to pull those people down.
They don't get it.
Yeah.
Bro, I've seen this.
I'll just kick you off.
Bro, listen. I've seen some crazy shit happen. I saw a dude one time. I know a guy who, I shouldn't even tell this story. I know a guy who a trainer started having sex with his wife. Okay. So this guy who had a lot of money bought the strip center of the trainer's gym and evicted him out of the strip center.
Oh, fuck.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's some bullshit right there.
And not only did he do it once, he did it twice. So when the guy moved, he did it again. So like, look, dude, you don't fuck with people because they fucking make your life hard. Yeah. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that's real shit. It's easier to just be good in business.
Yeah, just be good. Treat people right.
Competition's good.
It's how it works.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
That's real shit, man. I love it. Guys, Andy, question number 2. What's up, Andy? When you talk about the people who skip out for happy hours on Thursdays, party all weekend, and waste time, that's me. You were talking about me. Good news is I've completely changed my outlook on this behavior. Made some drastic changes. And my friends have actually, for the most part, been pretty supportive of it. Now, they still go out. They still invite me, but they don't give me shit for saying no. I found so much more time to do what's going to move me forward. My question is, I still get the cravings to go out. I still get the desire to just go out, and I know deep down it's not moving me forward when I do. I start my weeks off great, then I get to Friday, and it's like I can feel the momentum slowing and going down. Mm-hmm. I need some clarity or insight on simple ways to help keep my focus locked in and how to just keep moving forward despite the cravings to go out and just party. I appreciate all that you do. Andy, what we got on this? How do we maintain that momentum?
I'll be real, dude. I had that exact same problem for a long time. For years and years and years and years, my entire social life revolved around alcohol, all right? It was Thursday night, I would have a couple drinks. Friday night went pretty hard. Saturday, go out again. Sunday, day drink to try and nurse right? I did that for years. But like all my friends did it. All of our employees did it. We all went out together. It was a real thing. And it became the culture of our social life. And because I lived that way for so long and I worked in the bar scene for so long, it was really hard for me when it came Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and especially Sunday during the day to know what to do with my time when I wasn't doing those things. So, honestly, the best thing that's helped me, and it didn't just help me here, but it's helped me in literally every single area, was just getting away from alcohol, dude. Like I can't, removing alcohol from my life was probably the most effective thing that I've ever done in terms of making myself better, in terms of making my relationships better, my life better, my fitness better, my money better. I mean, dude, not say I'm a totally sober person. I'll still drink 3, 4, 5 times a year. But it is definitely not part of my life. And once you do that for a long enough time, which is a beautiful part of living the live hard lifestyle, because a lot of people don't realize the live hard lifestyle is a yearly program that you repeat every single year. Okay. It's not 75 hard once in a while. You do 75 hard every single year. You do phase 1, 2, 3 every single year. And by living in that lifestyle, you get removed from alcohol. It's slowly. It's not like this, I'm just quitting. It's just eventually you stop craving it and you stop wanting it. And couldn't even tell you the last time I felt that feeling of like, hey, I want to have some beers. I mean, yeah, once in a while it comes, but dude, you saw me have half a beer at fucking Summer Smash.
I did.
What'd I do?
You threw it away.
I drank half of a beer,
Yeah.
and I'm like, this is fucking gross.
Yeah.
I threw it away. Like, dude, it's just once you kind of get out of it, you're out of it. And so I would recommend, just removing yourself more and more and more from that lifestyle because, dude, I got to be real with you. And this is no disrespect to anybody else, but, I removed myself from drinking in 2018. Okay, so what's that? 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24. That's 7 years of pretty much removing myself from that scene. And this is the 100% truth, bro. When I go to my bars that I used to go to now, just because I always go to the same couple places, it's all the same people doing the same thing. They're 50 pounds heavier. They look like shit. Their face is all bloated. They look way older. I look younger than I did 6-7 years ago. It's very obvious for me right now what alcohol does to people. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And, when we look at, this gets into, more of a discussion, but when we look at the things that are propagated to us in terms of what's a normal life versus the things that are kept from us and told that are illegal, like, for example, alcohol is propagated heavily as a normal part of life, right? We all grew up with these commercials. Everybody's partying, everybody's drinking, everybody's, up in the mountains with their beers. Like, everything is alcohol, right? Mm-hmm. But weed's illegal. And not anymore, but it was forever, right?
For most parts,
mushrooms illegal. These are natural things that grow out of the ground, right? And I've used weed consistently, and I've used mushrooms before too to help treat depression and anxiety. And I'm going to tell you right now, I personally believe that there is a 100% reason why they propagate alcohol to people and they make this shit illegal. And it's not because this is dangerous and alcohol is safe. It's actually because alcohol is heavily debilitating to one's life and progress. And the rest of those things can actually help you. And so it's the opposite of what most people think. Most people think that alcohol is legal and pushed because it's safe. But when we look at what it does to us long-term in terms of our health, in terms of our motivation, in terms of what we're willing to accept and what we live for, it really changes the quality of our life in a poor and negative way. So my recommendation to remove yourself from these cravings is to realize, one, I don't know a lot of people who are very successful that use alcohol heavily. I just don't. Like, all the guys like at my level and up, they're not like that. And that's why whenever you look at those guys, they're usually all in shape. There's very few big fat guys that are above that unless they inherited their money. Because, dude, people take this serious. And so if you want to win big, this is not something that you can afford to mess around with, in my opinion, on a regular basis. And secondly, start working your way to get better, through the Live Hard program, and eventually it'll reduce those cravings for that kind of life. And bro, by the way, when I first started going out without alcohol, I was drinking Diet Cokes or coffee, like, because we used to go to brunch a lot and drink alcohol in the morning and shit. And now I just go get black coffee. And dude, it's still the same amount of fun. Like, I'm sitting around with my friends, they're drinking beers. That's cool. I don't give a shit. It's not like, you get to a place where you don't need it and you don't lose out on any fun. Like, I don't have less fun with no alcohol than I did with alcohol. In fact, like, it's almost better because then when you wake up the next day, you don't have that guilt, you don't have that anxiety. I call it the moral hangover, right? You're like, fuck, what'd I do? What'd I say? You don't have that.
Yeah.
And you get to like have memories of the time that you had and the conversations. It's just different, dude.
Well, plus the physical hangover, bro. It doesn't take you till Tuesday to get back together.
Well, dude, when you get to be my age, it's different. It's like a 4 or 5 day thing, dude.
Yeah.
And then the other thing is if you deal with any sort of depression or anxiety, alcohol just makes it 10 times worse, dude. And it makes it worse not the day you drink or even the day after, but the 2 or 3 days after that. So a lot of people that suffer with like depression or anxiety, they go out drinking on Sunday and then on Wednesday they feel like shit, like really dark, really bad times, but they forgot that they drank on Sunday and it has like a delayed effect on that. So yeah, man, there's a lot of reasons not to do it. And I'm not saying you can't go out and enjoy some drinks because I certainly do occasionally. But but it's occasionally.
Yeah.
It's not a regular part of my life.
I want to ask you this too, because I think this is an important part of this, right? Like even just understanding just the concept of momentum, right?
Yeah.
And like once you get to that point of understanding how hard it was to even just get going.
That's right.
It's more important to keep it going. How do you manage that? Like let's break down this concept of momentum real quick.
Well, dude, momentum comes down to, you doing things one day and then the day after that and then the day after that and then the day after that. And eventually it gets easier and easier and easier and easier. And you catch like a flow, which we call momentum. And a lot of people think that momentum is something that we just catch, but it's actually something that we create. It's something that we create by forcing ourselves through one day, then another day, then another day. And in the beginning, it's very hard. You have to use force. Like you're going to have cravings. You're going to want to eat bad. You're not going to want to train. You're going to want to drink. And so you have to like grit it out through those beginning days. But then as you catch momentum, it gets easier and easier and easier, and it starts to push you forward. And the biggest misconception, like I said, is that we catch it magically as opposed to we create it. So if we know that we create the momentum, and we know that we're in control of the momentum, we should also recognize that it's important for us to create the momentum and keep it going as long as possible. And if we interrupt, every 3 or 4 days with this day of booze or this day of bad eating, you can't ever build the momentum necessary to make not having that in your life easy. You see what I'm saying? So you have to go with a long time without this in your life. And, most people aren't willing to do that. They try to create momentum, and then they try to throw in, a cheat day or a cheat weekend or this. It doesn't work like that, dude. You can't do it.
It's like, it reminds me of almost like pushing a car in neutral. You know what I'm saying? It's hard as shit to get the car moving, but once it's moving, it's moving.
That's
man.
right, dude.
You stop pushing.
An object in motion tends to stay in motion. And dude, like when you think about trying to create momentum and, get away from alcohol, but then you're throwing it in there every week, that's like this. It's no different than this. Hey, I need you to quit heroin. I need you to quit, but every Saturday and Sunday, you got to do it.
Mm.
How can you ever quit?
Yeah.
Right?
Take a little bit on Saturday.
Yeah. It's even worse with food. Like people want to create this momentum where they can create a healthy lifestyle with food, but they want to interrupt that momentum every Sunday with a cheat day or every Saturday and Sunday with the days off. I got to live a little. Well, it's really hard to remove yourself from that culture unless you go for an extended period of time without it. And that extended period of time is not a week, and it's not 2 weeks. It's like 10 or 12 weeks. Okay. So, yeah, man, you're in control of your momentum. And if you're trying to create momentum to create a better life, why would you interrupt that and make it harder for yourself? You shouldn't do that. It's the same reason why when people complete 75 hard and the next day they're eating a huge cake and a bunch of stuff and drinking and all this shit to celebrate. It's like, bro, why are you going back to the behavior that created this place of dissatisfaction and frustration and anger about your own existence? Why are you rewarding yourself with that behavior when you just work so hard to get away from it? That doesn't make sense. So there's a lot to that, but the reality is the best thing that you can do in your whole entire life, if you're an entrepreneur or if you're someone who wants to achieve high level things, is to limit alcohol and that constant cycle of social drinking. I
disrupting the momentum.
Yeah, I don't know many people that are successful to do that, dude.
Yeah,
I just don't.
Yeah.
Not when they're building. Okay, they might get older. They might sell their company for $100 million or some shit, and maybe they drink now. But I bet they're fat, and I bet they aren't as healthy. Maybe someone inherited $1 billion, and they're 400 pounds, and you could say, oh, look at that guy. Well, that's not you. He didn't build that shit.
Right.
You're not going to build that shit with that. Dude, you just can't do it. For those of us peasants, that's us, building something from scratch is really fucking hard, and you need to do it and understand that the outcome that you're trying to create is not guaranteed. It's not easy. It's not, rub free. It's not pain free. Like it's going to be hard and you're going to have to go all in because you're competing against other people who are going all in. So if you think you could compete against other people who are going all in and not having this shit in their life with you giving 3 days and them giving 7, your ego's out of control, bro. That's an arrogant thought. Yeah. Like how you think you're that good? You think you could beat someone like me? but you could work for 4 days a week and I'm working 7 days with no alcohol and none of that shit in my life. Bro, those people are going to kill you. You have no shot.
Yeah. I love it, man. I love it. Guys, Andy, our third and final question. Andy, question number 3. Hey, Andy. I feel like I need a New York accent on this one. Hey, Andy, I'm 22 years old from New York. My dad recently passed away about 6 months ago. A great role model for me, my family, our community. He'd give the clothes off his back. You honestly remind me of him quite a bit. His no-nonsense attitude. He didn't take any shit, but he wouldn't hurt a butterfly. Not because he wasn't capable to hurt a butterfly, but because it was a butterfly. My father always told me, quote, just be good. He always say this. Even at his last, he would remind me to just be good. My question is, I know this show is about kicking ass and winning and becoming the best you can possibly be. And so with that being said, I want to know what your take is on just being a good human. With all the craziness in the world, we need more good people. So what makes a good person good? Appreciate you.
Well, first of all, all we can do is what we think is right. All right. And what we think is right is not always right. But if we do what we think is right, eventually we learn what is right. And that makes us a better human and a good human. And my personal take on goodness is not what I think most people think goodness is. I think when most people think of goodness, they think of the outward appearance of being a decent human. Like, I'm going to post some Bible quotes. I'm going to pretend I'm extra holy. I'm going to pretend I care about things. But then in real life, dude, you can kind of see that the puzzle doesn't truly connect, right? So I think the ultimate thing that you have to understand is that when you do good, you get good. When you treat people right, you get treated right. When you have good intentions for other people have good intentions for you. And even if they don't, you end up winning anyway, because good always triumphs evil. And so the intent of making the right decisions of what you know and feel in your heart to be right, even if it ends up being wrong, is still you going down the path of becoming a better person, because you're going to learn, right? None of us make all the right decisions. None of us even make the decisions that are the good decisions all the time in our life. Sometimes we're like, fuck, I'll get away with this one. And bro, those always come back to bite you in the ass in a really bad way. And I learned this lesson from my mom, dude. I talk an awful lot about my dad because he taught us a lot of practical, mindset and even business advice growing up. But this was a lesson I learned from my mom. And you guys who listen to MFCEO, you've heard this story before. But when I was a little kid, I can't remember how old I was. I was little, though. We were walking down the aisle of Deerbergs over there on Tesson Ferry. And we always had like Tang and occasionally Kool-Aid and stuff like that. But really it was like, we were Tang. You know what I'm saying?
And Flavor 8.
Yeah, right. Exactly. And we were walking down the aisle of the Kool-Aid aisle, and it's like all these colors. And dude, I'm seeing the Kool-Aid man bust through the wall. Oh, yeah. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's like Kool-Aid was a good brand when you were a kid, bro. And we're in the Kool-Aid aisle and I see Mountain Berry Punch, bro. And I remember this very clearly. People are like, how the fuck can you remember a flavor that they haven't even made in 20 years? Well, right. You'll know when I tell you. So, it's amazing what you remember when you get your ass beat for it. so I told my mom, I remember, I'm like, Mom, let's get this Mountain Berry Punch. And she's like, no. And I'm like, no, come on, let's get it. And she's like, put that back, blah, blah, blah. Well, I didn't put it back. I put it in my pocket. And we went through the store, we went home, and I didn't think this, very far ahead because I didn't know how to make fucking Kool-Aid. So I wanted the Kool-Aid. And I pulled the packet out and I'm like, Mom, will you make a Kool-Aid? And she's like, what's that? And I'm like, it's Mountain Berry Punch. And dude, she went, I remember this. She went straight to the fucking wooden spoon drawer.
Oh, fuck.
Yeah. And went to work.
Dude, those wooden spoons.
Yes.
Ain't cool.
And then after the work was done, I had to give the Kool-Aid back to the Deerbergs. So she drove me up to Deerbergs and I had to walk in and be like, hey, I stole this. And bro, it was one of the most important lessons I ever learned in my life, which was to do the right thing. And I think the lesson there is even when you do something wrong and you figure out it's wrong, make it right.
Make it right.
And I think that this is the binding glue of American culture. I think it's very, very important that all of us try to do what's right and try to live what's right. And then when we make wrong decisions, we take accountability and we stand up. We say, hey, I fucked up there. I shouldn't have done that. And then don't do those things again. And I think we could talk about success. We can talk about making money. We could talk about the ultimate rebellion. We could talk about all this shit. But everything that we talk about here comes back down to doing the right thing and treating people right and being a good human. And my dad used to say something similar to this, but it was regarding the animals. You know, we're animal people. My dad always said, he's like, if you be good to animals, good things happen to you. And dude, I believe that because I love animals. And it doesn't matter if it's like a turtle or a deer or a duck. Like, I'm not a hunter. Like, and I'm not, no shade on anybody that does, dude. I get it. Like, I get the whole thing. And I would definitely, if that's what I need to do, I have no problem with it. But at the end of the day, you know, I think that's true. I think when we're good to animals and when we're good to people, I think good things happen to us. And I think God, I think when we put that intent out there, we get that back. And I've just seen too much of it to deny its reality. You know what I mean? I think it's real. I think when you treat people right, people treat you right. I think when you do good things happen to you. And if we're going to talk about it in a practical sense, I think that's what we're missing in the world. What we're missing is a bunch of people who are willing to do the right thing no matter what, which is why we see so many people being silent in the face of all this stuff going on in the world, because they're afraid. They know what's right, but they don't do it. You know what I mean? And dude, ultimately, when you know what's right and you don't follow through with doing what's right, what ends up happening is you end up having a lot of guilt, a lot of frustration, and a lot of pain later because you realize that you were a coward in the time when it was time to do the right thing. And my brother always says this, man. He says there's never a wrong time to do the right thing. And I think that's one of the most real statements that could possibly be made. And I think it affects everything. I think it affects your personal life. I think it affects your professional life. I think it affects how you feel about yourself. And I think it affects the amount of success that you're going to have in the world and the impact that you're going to have on the world. So when you ask how important is it, I think it's the fundamental, most important thing that you could ever do is to try to do the right thing at every possible opportunity.
I love it, man. I love it. Well, guys, Andy, that was 3.
All right, guys, let's go have a good week. Pay the fee.